My Singing Monsters is the best game ever, but each island does have that one monster that either ruins the song or literally just does nothing. So let's just go ahead and go through every island and pick out the worst monster. Alright, so let's start off with Plant Island. I mean, there's honestly there's not like any bad monsters on this island, but for this, I'm gonna go with Pummel, just because you can barely hear him. I mean, when you're up close, it sounds okay, but you know, he's pretty ugly. I mean, I don't even know how he got that piece of wood jammed in his mouth and what those tentacles are from. But when you zoom out and you're just listening to the song, you can't hear him really, like barely at all, unless you focus on him. So that's going to be the worst monster for Plant Island. But let's go over to Cold Island. I'm actually gonna go with Yule on this one. I know this is one of probably the most controversial ones, but I mean, there's like no bad monsters on this island if you think about it. But I feel like Yule is just the worst. He's not bad. I mean, I just feel like all the other monsters are better than him, if I'm gonna be honest. I mean, all he does is his little, you know, ho 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 ho. Let's listen to that really quick. Ho 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 ho. Yeah, and then he jingles his bells, but I mean, that's all he really does. So, like I said earlier, he's not necessarily bad, just all the other monsters are better than him. But anyways, let's keep moving on. Let's go over to Air Islands. And for Air Islands, I mean, a lot of people don't really like this monster. It's gonna be Scups. I personally I think it's an okay monster. I don't like it, but you know, I don't hate it. But Air Island's another great island, you know, a bunch of great monsters, but I feel like Scups is going to be the worst one here. Kind of like a weird design, weird monster in general. But let's go over to Water Islands. Now this one's interesting. It's actually going to be, it's a surprising take here. It's actually going to be Noggin. Only because, just listen. Yeah, all he does is just play simple notes. You know, it is kind of boring, and I'm not going with Pummel on this one because he does make like a pretty good impact on the song. But yeah, I mean, another great island, great monsters, but I mean, I'm just not a big fan of Noggin's track on Water Island. But anyways, now we're going to be going on to Earth Islands, and you know, this one probably could have came earlier on the list on a different island, but it is going to be Shrub. He's just kind of annoying. Like, his voice is just weird. It's like just spitting around, kind of gross. He looks weird too with I don't even know what he is. But anyways, yeah, that's it for Earth Island. But I mean, the main natural islands, there aren't really any bad monsters on them. I love all the monsters on the natural islands. So now we're gonna get into some spicy things. So let's go over to Firehaven. And this is actually my least favorite monster in the game. You guys will know if you've seen my video on 10 of the worst monsters in the game. I don't have it, but let me just go into the collection book. And it's gonna be Gobblegord. I don't know where the normal version is. But anyways, it's Gobblegord. I'll show you a picture of her. But it'll be on Fire Oasis too. I have it on Fire Oasis, so I'll show you that. But yeah, let's just go over to Fire Oasis. It's the same for both. My least, the worst on Fire Oasis is also Gobblegord. I mean, this is rare Gobblegord, but just a not a great monster. I really don't like Gobblegord. But let's listen. Alright, so as you guys can see, it's very annoying. I mean, yeah, I mean, I still think it's okay. I mean, it is like, it's, you know, just whatever. I just really don't like Gobblegord. But anyways, so for Firehaven and Oasis, we're going with Gobblegord. But now let's go over to Light Islands. You know, go over through all the mythical islands here. Or magical, should I say. And, for Light Islands, this is actually going to be Bulbo. Just because the sound it makes me like, it's just a very weird, like, gross sound. And also it's literally just a bug. So that in itself is pretty self-explanatory, but here we go. Yeah, it kind of gives you like the nails on the chalkboard feel. But anyways, Light Islands, I'm not a big fan of Light Island, but we are going to be going with Bulbo for Light Island. So now, let's go over to Psychic Islands. Now, I really couldn't pick one on here. They're all amazing, but the thing that made me decide who to pick here is, you know, like the community, and it's gonna be Yuggler, just because a lot of people don't like him. I think he's great, but everyone else on the island's great. There's literally not a single bad monster on this island. So, but if I had to pick one, it would be Yuggler. But anyways, no really bad monsters there. Fairy Islands. Now, this one I really don't I hate this monster. It's Cantarell. Honestly, bro, it's just like sounds like an old grandma singing into like an old microphone. Just listen.
Winnie wow, Winnie wow, Winnie wow, Winnie wow, Winnie wow, Winnie wow.
So yeah, as you can see, it has like that old sounds, and it also looks disgusting. But anyways, let's move on from Fairy Islands and let's go over to Bone Islands. So this is similar to Psychic Islands. There are no bad monsters on Bone Islands, but if I had to just pick one, it would just be Flog, just because it doesn't do much, and you know, kind of like one of its worst tracks for out of all its islands it's on. But Flog's still a great monster. Literally every single monster on here is amazing. But anyways, yeah, we'll just move on to that. I mean, I'll just quickly show you guys what he sounds like, and then we can move on.
Wow, 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 wow.
So yeah, that's it. It just does that quick little snippet. Yeah, it just does that quick snippet a few times. But anyways, let's now go on to Magical Sanctum. I mean, most of these islands that I'm doing, it's really tough to pick out somebody that I don't like. But actually, I don't have this monster. It's like one of the last monsters I have to get. But it's going to be Mushaboom. I'll just show you guys a snippet of him playing really quick. So yeah, I mean, he's not necessarily bad. He's just like, doesn't have a big impact on the song. And you know, all the other monsters are just generally better. But anyways, let's now go on to Magical Nexus. Now I have 0 monsters on this island, but I will show you someone else's island. And the worst monster for Nexus is gonna be Bulbo, just like Light Islands, just because it literally does nothing and you can't even hear it unless you go right up to it. So I'll show you guys that. Okay, so now let's go on to Ethereal Workshop. Now this one I had 2 options. I was either gonna do Xert or Nightbear, and I chose Nightbear just because I kind of like Xert. I mean, honestly, I know he's disgusting, but you know, I kind of like him. Nightbear is just depressing. So let's listen. Alright, yeah, so you guys can see he has like that depressing feeling, you know, depressing sounds. But you know, anyways, let's go on to Ethereal Islands now. And for this one, a lot of people don't like this monster. But I mean, actually, an epic version just came out. It's gonna be Kazillion. I think the epic version looks insane. But anyways, let's take a listen to him and you'll see why he's the worst monster. So here we go. Yeah, you can barely, like, when you have the full island, you can barely hear him. And he just kind of sounds weird. He looks really cool, but Ethereal Workshop is just a great island, though. Or not Ethereal Workshop. Ethereal Island is a great island. But Kazillion is gonna be the worst for that. But anyways, let's move on from Ethereal Island and go over to Sugarbush Island up here. Now I recently started, you know, building up Sugarbush Island. I'm pretty sure I'm breeding it. I don't know if I'm breeding it right now or not, but the monster for Sugarbush Island is gonna be Sugabuzz, just because it sounds kind of weird, but let's listen to that. So yeah, you can hear that like weird scratchy sound. It's not horrible, but it is the worst out of the bands. But anyways, let's move on to our next island, which is going to be Mythical Islands down here. Now, for this, it's gonna be Weasel. Honestly, it's like spitting sound, just, first we'll take a listen, then we'll talk. Alright, so yeah, it just does that little snippet of like the spinning, kind of gross. It does fit the song pretty nicely, but Mythical Island's my favorite island. Every monster on here is great. I know I've been saying that a lot oh my, I can't talk. I've been saying that about a lot of the islands where I just love every monster, but this one I truly do love every monster, but this one you can, like, it's more understandable. But anyways, let's go on to the next island, which is going to be Seasonal Shanty. The only monster I have on here is Whizbang, but I'll show you someone else's islands. The monster we have for Shanty is Gobbledygord. As you guys know, my least favorite monster, so let's listen. So yeah, anyways, let's go on to Amber Island. Oh, looks like I have some relics to collect from my single monster. But anyways, I almost have Kana up, but this is my Amber Island so far. Kind of sad. But anyways, I will show you guys someone else's Amber Island. And the monster we have for the worst on Amber Island is actually Wink. Very understandable. Kind of an annoying, weird monster. I like him on Oasis, but Amber, he kind of ruins it. Let's listen.
Rum diddly dum dum, rum diddly dum, rum diddly dum dum dum.
Okay, so now let's move on to Wublin Island. Again, I don't have this monster, but I have a decent Wublin Island going on. It's gonna be Creep Skull or Creep School, whatever it's called. I'll show you guys that playing. The only reason is just because it like doesn't really do anything. You can't even tell it's there, and it is probably the ugliest monster in the game. So anyways, let's listen to that. Alright, so now let's go on to Celestial Island. I am gonna go back to someone else's island for this. It's gonna be Galvana. Yeah, Galvana. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Not 100% sure, but Galvana, just because the high-pitched noise is kind of irritating, so let's listen to that. Alright, and finally, I'll go to Tribal Island, and then I will go to Gold Island. So anyways, let's go to Tribal. For this one, we have Thumpies. Just because this is their worst track, I feel like, out of all of them. And, like, they don't do much. They kind of just sound like off-tone timpanis. So let's listen to that. Yeah, they're, like, kind of, like, out of tune, you know, just, like, weird. But love Tribal Island. Anyways, let's go on to our final island, which is going to be Gold Island. And this one was really hard to pick. But I'm going with Pummel again, just because he barely plays. He had his first track and his second track are both like a second long, and he does like, yeah, there we go. That right there, all it does is leads into the next part. It barely does anything. But anyways, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and click on the screen right now if you want to see what the best monster for every island is. You know, this was worst monster, so click that to see the best monster for every island. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.